Hello again. My name is Marina and I welcome you to another edition of Knights Templar International News. When Serbs and other East Europeans look at the news from Western Europe, we find it very hard to understand how nations which once dominated the world have sunk so low in such a short time. And while we hate your liberal internationalist governments for their criminal war to rip our country apart, we still feel sorry for ordinary people in places such as Britain, the USA, France, Germany, Holland, and so on. After all, you didn't ask your governments to give your children's future away to foreigners, to take your taxes and hand them out as breeding subsidies for people who want to destroy everything you hold dear. We understand that you never voted to have your countries flooded with Muslims or other third world immigrants. It's not your fault that you are now on course to become minorities in your own homelands. Except, of course, that most of your people have accepted it. The immigration, the crime, the gang rape of huge numbers of your own women, the dispossession, finding yourself a foreigner in your own country. Yes, plenty of people have grumbled about it, but how many have done anything to try to put things right? Frankly, when we Serbs look at what's happening on the streets of cities like Stockholm, Bradford, Berlin, Paris or Dearborn, Michigan, we are horrified. Not so much by what is done to your people by criminal migrants, but by the fact that you put up with it. You know by now that your own masters are working to a plan to replace you, but so far they have faced nothing more than a few protest votes. Your media call it tolerance, but from here it looks more like cowardice. Which is why I want to show you two short video clips, because in very different ways they give us hope that things are starting to change. The first is by the outspoken French patriot and intellectual Renaud Camus. He is the man who first coined the term the Great Replacement to describe what is being done in the West. Just a few years ago, he was telling people to vote for Marine Le Pen, still believing and hoping that voting might change something. As you will see and hear, he is now starting to adopt a more realistic position.
Le changement de peuple, la substitution ethnique, le grand remplacement sont l'événement le plus important de l'histoire de notre pays depuis qu'il existe, puisqu'avec un autre peuple, l'histoire, si elle continue, ne sera plus celle de la France.
Of course, no one wants war. No one is advocating war, but it is good to hear that more and more people in the West understand that war is coming. That is at least a start. And then there is this clip. It's from Ireland. Just a few days ago, an 18-year-old Muslim child immigrant ran wild in the town of Dundalk. Lashing out at passers-by with a large knife, he injured several people and killed one. His victim wasn't even Irish, he was a Japanese visitor. But just look at how local people reacted. Just imagine if the victim had been one of their own. It is clear that the Irish still have normal instincts. Places like Sweden may sink without resistance, but the Irish will fight. And they will not be alone. The liberal fake news media may cover it up, but it is clear that the spirit of resistance is on the rise. Not stupid, bigoted, cowardly attacks on innocent migrants, but a serious resistance which will be ready when the Islamist uprising begins, as we all know it will. A real resistance which will not break the law, but which, when liberal law breaks down, will become the law. Resistance which will ensure that true Christianity not only survives but returns to save and dominate the West, just as it has already returned to once godless Russia. Law based on the right of all peoples to preserve their own homeland and to hand it on to their own children. Law based on the God-given nature and the Christian traditions of the nations of Europe. The law of Luke chapter 22 verse 36. And let he who has no sword sell his cloak and buy one. Deus vult.